if your ideal is to feel comfortable when talking about race, that's just unrealistic. It's so unrealistic. You know what I mean? It's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
So yeah. What does it mean to be black? Okay, in South Africa, I'm not black. They would call me colored or mixed race. Because long time ago, Khoisan people migrated down into South Africa, and when the Dutch colonized South Africa, they had their way with the Khoisan people and basically bred them out. So they all became this color, brownish, light. So I'm not considered black in South Africa because there are actual black South Africans. There's Zulu, Xhosa, and a whole bunch of different native South Africans. As soon as I stepped onto Australian land, I was called black. That just shows me how frail this concept of race is. Because in one country I'm called colored and I'm told you're colored. And in the next country, they tell me that I can't be colored, I'm black. Like, that to me is crazy. So that's my experience of what it means to be black. It's opened my mind to the idea that it's something that doesn't constrict me or limit me. At primary school assembly, some kid he had that straw with the spitball and was doing that in my hair. And I approached him after the assembly and was like, bro, why did you do that? Getting really agitated and confronting him. And he straight up just said, because you're a nigger. Literally, just said that. I was like, what? Dude, that experience for me was a blow to my system because I've never heard that word used in a malicious way before. With such malicious intent. He said it and it was like a gunshot, dude. Yeah, I've definitely experienced racism in Australia, and more so than I have in South Africa, actually. And obviously there's collaboration and influence and inspiration, but at the end of the day, there's a sound that's over there that you're trying to get to. There's a lyric that's over there that you're trying to get to, and only you can do it. You can get help from other people, but at the end of the day, it's you who's gonna reach out and get that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, in saying that, like, the social responsibility that I place on myself is only for me to do, and I do it. I've literally started in my first EP talking about religion. Like, rappers don't do that shit. Well, they do, but it's always advocating religion. And I'm trying to not change people's minds, but try and open their eyes to just a different perspective. First of all, I want you to see this different perspective of religion. So I felt very strongly about that, and I thought, oh shit, this is something I should be rapping about. And there's a bunch of different other topics that I want to tackle in my music that I don't think have been addressed 100%. Because in my degree, my health sciences degree, we go through disparities between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people at this contemporary time and trace it all the way back to colonization. There's a direct link between those two. The health gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people has never been talked about in rap or music, for all that I know. I want to rap about that shit, you know? I want to rap about the social gradient between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, and you know, just these different outcomes for Indigenous people, non-Indigenous, and ethnic minorities in Australia and immigrants in Australia. Just to be like, yeah, I can rap about these things and not make them tokenistic, make them genuine and authentic, you know what I mean? There are white South Africans that can trace their heritage back to European ancestry. There are black South Africans who can trace their lineage back to different areas in Africa and different areas in South Africa. Whereas colored people, they can't trace that lineage back because of historical events of colonization and apartheid in South Africa. So in that regard, I'm like, it's going to come down to, I'm gonna trace it, and there's gonna be most likely a white colonizer and a black South African woman, and that'll be the end, as far as I can trace back. So in that regard, it feels like it's cut short. Colored people are now, they're a conglomerate of people. They are not white South Africans and they're not black South Africans. They are certain, they're their own, you know what I mean? So in that regard, yeah, there are practices that I still adhere to, and that helps me find more of a sense of belonging, which sort of diminishes my anxieties and contemplations about identity, I guess. I can't separate my experience from my color. Because obviously people, every day your mind is working to categorize and stereotype people because there's just so much information coming to you at once. Your brain has to do it. It's not something you do. You might not do it intentionally, but it's going to happen. If that's a human condition to do that, obviously when people see people of my skin color, they're gonna associate it with certain behaviors, actions, language, a lot of different things. So having those preconceptions or assumptions has an effect on my experience. Literally in high school and in school, people would ask me, is this the first time you're wearing clothes? Were you born in a hut? Literal, genuine questions people are asking. And it may not be, some of them may have been malintentioned, some of them might have not been, some of them might have been genuine. It's a negative experience for me. It causes me in the moment to have animosity for people. And this was all coming from white people. I've never had any other person of color ask me these questions, which is interesting. It's an interesting phenomenon. So I feel like my race has, or my ethnicity and race has had mostly negative experiences in regards to what people say to me and how people treat me. And there's always this pressure, especially in Australia, this underlying pressure that tells you you're different. My name's S.A.B, aka Sean Barnes, and I'm an Afro-Australian.